Welcome, everybody, to episode 2 of our Bangor Daily News Sports Show. I am your host, Adam Robinson, with my co host, Larry Mahoney. And we are here again to talk about another week of basketball and hockey. And if anything else pops up, we'll talk about that too. So I was going to start with, we kind of touched on it last week. Class A boys basketball has been, it was the class I was looking at the most interested in, and it's kind of lived up to it so far, a few games in. Last night I was at Brewer High School, and the Witches hosted the Hamden Broncos. Brewer won 75-50, and it was kind of a team effort. Brady Saunders had 20 points, and then he had teammates Brock Flagg had 15, Cameron Hughes had 14, and Ryder Goodwin had 13. An impressive win. Hamden's going to be a good team in Double-A, and they kind of pulled away in the second quarter and didn't look back. And they're the team to beat, I think, in A North, and they have
Who's the challenger? Who? You know, how good will Nokomis be by the end of the season? After because I have a lot of faith in Earl Anderson as a coach. He won the state with the girls team. Again, you've got the two flags are gone, but they still have some components, and I think the learning curve for them is going to be much more significant than it is for Brewer. Brewer's a veteran team. Nokomis, I think, by the end of the year could be a tough out.
Yep, I agree. Nokomis, I think, is going to be one of the teams to beat in Class A. They beat Skowhegan in overtime yesterday, Larry, in a game that I was kind of surprised by. We talked about it last week also, that Skowhegan in the coaches poll for Class A was voted first over Brewer and Nokomis. And Madden White, who's one of those holdovers from the Cooper and Ace Flag team from last year, was kind of their third best player last year and has become the leader this year. He had 8 of his 16 points in that overtime, and Nokomis beat Skowhegan by 4. So they're 2-0, and Skowhegan, I think, is 0-4 now. Rocky start to the Riverhawks season, but I think once they've been trying to work guys back in, like Adam Savage from injury this offseason. So
right.
I think they'll figure it out. They're too good not to, but Nokomis has been a nice surprise. They beat Bangor first, and then they were supposed to play Brewer last week, but the snow rescheduled that game. So 2-0 in the season for Nokomis. And then
remember the other thing, Adam, too. Remember now, it's not always easy to be a front runner. Skowhegan was picked to win the conference, right?
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden there's a target on their back. In the past that hasn't been the case. I mean, they were pretty good last year if I remember right. But it's not always easy when you're expected to win. All of a sudden, that's a lot of pressure. And that's, for some players, some teams, it takes a while to adapt to that pressure. It's easy when you're an underdog because nothing's expected of you, and then you just go out and play loose and carefree. And next thing you know, you're stringing together some wins and gaining confidence, gaining a little bit of swagger. But when you're picked to win it, again, not the easiest of early schedules for the Riverhawks either. So, but we'll see. Like you said, I mean, it's you just get in the playoffs, just get in the tournament, and then go from there. Because right. We've seen. You and I have seen enough basketball where, I saw a 9 seed upset a 1 seed many years ago. I believe it was Gardner upset MDI. MDI was undefeated in girls, and Gardner came in and zipped him early, jumped on him early. MDI came back to tie, and then in the second half, Gardner came out and just, ran off 10 or 12 straight points. You just never know, the year with the Winslow girls won, and I believe they were the 9 seed. You just never know come tournament time. So, Skowhegan is a work in progress, but they need to start stringing some wins together just to gain confidence and some swagger a little bit.
Yeah, and kind of the opposite of like you said, Skowhegan's coming in with pressure and expectations now, and Nokomis has kind of become the opposite. Last year they had all the balls on them, and this year they're kind of just playing basketball, and it's going well. Another team real quick in Class A is Mount Blue, who's started really well, and that they have Evan Sterling, who has kind of been their points leader this year, and he had 33 a couple games ago against Skowhegan in a win. So they're a team, and Coney also, who plays Brewer tomorrow, they're another team that's going to be at the top of Class A. I think Coney's 4-0. So Um, Interesting Class A. So, Larry, what do you have? I know you had.
Well, I have something that I'm way early on this, but I would love to see, based on what I've seen, I would love to see there'd be an intriguing matchup if Old Town and Oceanside were to meet in the final in Class B in the state final. Of course, Oceanside, the defending state champs, 6'3" Bailey Breen, you know, an all Bangor Bailey Daily News second teamer, just a terrific player. 6'3", 20 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks last year. But Old Town has a big in Sage Evans. She's only 5'9", but she's very athletic. She was a Big East Class B North Player of the Year last year. Very quick. And that would be an interesting matchup. Obviously, Breen would have 6 inches on her, would have the would have the post presence, but Evans is quick. Her quickness would cause Breen a lot of issues, and I think that would be a really interesting matchup. Plus, Gabby Cody is playing prominent minutes this year. She played some last year for Old Town. She's another big. And she's strong, so those two would really give Breen a battle in the paint, and I think that would be a really interesting. Of course, we're way jumping to conclusions because so many teams, Ellsworth girls are off to a great start, and you just don't know what can happen. And one of the things that we're talking about now, unfortunately, is sickness. I can't remember a year when that word has been mentioned so often, and that we hope to be playing our best at the end of the year and avoid sickness because. Teams are getting wiped out by the flu, and of course, we still have the COVID. So, you get to the tournament, you get a couple key players sick and can't play, and it changes the whole dynamic of it. So, but no, I think that would be fascinating because Old Town really was impressive. They played Herman in a rematch of the B North final, won by Herman 45-30 last year. In Old Town, Herman just was gutted by graduation, and then Jade Lehman, who was their leading scorer during the COVID year, hasn't played for 2 years due to injury, and she was a Bucksport transfer. So I think Old Town's, again, I know it's just based on one game, but Michaela Emerson had 22 points, a guard, and then they had all of their starters had at least 6 points. Good balance. Heather Richards' teams always play very good defense. I think Old Town's is a team to beat in Class A, Class B North. And again, we have in AA. I had a chance to see him in the academy last night. Bella McLaughlin going to Providence. She was outstanding. 23 points for her against Brewer. Again, Brewers undermanned pretty much right now. Young team, and Michaela Dorr, one of their starters, is out for the season with a knee injury. So, but no, they've got Chad LeBreeze doing a nice job. They work hard. They're a young team, very inexperienced, but I really liked I liked Hamden, but I think. They had trouble defending the bigs. LeBreeze's daughter was out, a freshman, had 12 points last night, and she played very well. So I think they go up against Oxford Hills Friday afternoon. I don't know if anything's going to be played Friday afternoon based on the weather forecast, but to go up against Ella Pelletier in the post, and then of course Sierra Carson, the first team, all Bangor Daily News schoolgirl a year ago. That would be interesting. I think that will be a very difficult challenge for Nick Winchester's Broncos. But McLaughlin, again, had COVID last year. We didn't see a lot of her. She missed 7 games and really wasn't healthy the rest of the way she did. She told me after the game she had some really bad headaches from COVID last year. But, boy, she looked good. I mean, she's quick, very quick, but strong, too. It'll be interesting to follow her career at Providence. But, like I said, again, in AA, I think it's Oxford Hills. It's Chevrolet. Chevrolet is just going to get better because they're integrating new players. They lost 6 key seniors, and of course Bangor. I mean, they've got off to a good start, and they've got Lawrence tomorrow. I'll be looking forward to covering that. Lawrence beat them last year. Of course, Lawrence is one of the co-favorites, in A North with Gardner and Lizzie Gruber.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, I was at that Hamden game last night when you were covering it. I was trying to take photos, and I was pretty impressed with Bella McLaughlin's just speed and you're right, strength. She was directing traffic. I thought she was really impressive. So yeah, whenever they can get that Oxford Hills game in, you're right. Friday looks kind of iffy, rain and wind, but
what do you got, Adam, for big ones for games really to look in the next 3 or 4 days?
Well, tomorrow I know
you
that
Cody? You doing Cody Brewer?
I don't know because it's down in Coney. I might be.
Oh, okay, no, okay, I see. Yep. Oh, I thought it was at Brewer. Okay, yep.
Yeah, that's a big one. And then Oxford Hills and Hamden boys play tomorrow. Hamden yesterday was on their back end of a back-to-back. They played Portland the day before
Yep.
because of rescheduling of games. So they were kind of tired in that Brewer game that I covered, but they're a good team. And Bella's brother, Zach McLaughlin, who's one of the best scorers in Class AA, maybe the state, he went up. That was a fun matchup against Brady Saunders, and he'll have to go up against Tegan Pelletier in that Oxford Hills team.
Yeah, that's the other. Yeah, yeah. That Tegan and Ella are both daughters of Nate Pelletier, who's the girls' coach.
Yes, yeah, great kids. Tegan might be the best player in the state all around, and then I think they're the team to beat. One game I wanted to note, Larry, is Bangor boys beat Edward Little yesterday, 34-31.
Didn't someone tell me? Someone at the Brew didn't they tell us like second quarter neither team scored?
Yeah, it was 0-0 in the second quarter. Can you believe that?
My goodness gracious!
I don't even know how that happens, but that's a big win for a Bangor team that brings back two kids from last year that had varsity minutes, and to beat Edward Little, who obviously lost John Shea, Mr. Basketball, to graduation, and a couple other key players. They're trying to find their footing, but that's a pretty awesome win for Bangor, and hopefully they can build off of that one.
Well, they're just in a tough cycle right now, Adam, because they had 27 seniors graduate from the football program.
Yeah,
and they really struggled simply because the players that replaced them, even some were even like juniors and seniors, but they had very little playing time because those seniors played all the time. There was only one starter back on the football team. Now you carry that over to basketball where they got hit hard by graduation. And as we know in high school sports, things are cyclical. So down the road, they're probably going to be good because like in football, they played a lot of freshmen and sophomores. So they should be significantly better next year. Is that the case in basketball? Are they playing a lot of underclassmen?
Yeah, a lot of new kids. I think their first game against Cheverus, that's a tough opponent to start because that Cheverus boys team is going to be good this year. I think they had like 34 turnovers, and then against Nokomis, the game I covered, I think they got down to 20, and they must have cleaned it up a little bit more against Edward Little. But that's a really good confidence win. Bangor's football team, their first win this year was against Edward Little also. So
right. So just got to schedule them more. They got to play more games to try to play Edward Little 6 or 7 times instead of just once or twice.
Right. Perfect.
No, they're going to get better. Like I said, it goes in cycles. It's just but the upshoot for teams going through a cycle like that is that young players are forced to play, and they're going to play prominent minutes, and they're only going to get better by playing prominent minutes in a varsity setting. So, that's the plus right there. And unfortunately, you're going to take your lumps doing that. But like I said, if they can get in the tournament, maybe by the end of the year, again, they're going to have a big learning curve with so much inexperience. So maybe by the end of the year, they could be a team that could, cause some concern for the Oxford Hills of the world.
Yeah, right. Play some teams tough. Just a couple different players I wanted to mention. Chance Mercier from Ellsworth has been on fire to start the year. He's, a 30-point, 28-point a game scorer, and Ellsworth is 3-0. And then Walker Oliver, his first game, I think he had 52 points. And he was hurt his last game against, I think, I don't remember actually who they were playing, but he was injured. But he started off the year well, so I just wanted to mention a couple of those guys. Do you have anything else you wanted to mention on girls basketball?
Just like I said. By the way, kids. I've been getting a lot of kids coming up to me at Hannaford, giving me their Christmas list. Hey, I'm sorry, I'm not him. I'm not him. I just look like him.
Right.
No, just Merry Christmas, everybody. No, I just say I'm really looking forward to the Bangor Lawrence game tomorrow because you get two of the premier guards in the state with Emmy Streams from Bangor and Hope Bouchard from Lawrence. And there were two of the girls we chose as players to watch. So, it's really going to be interesting to see that matchup. And of course, Abby Quinn is off to a real good start. And Lawrence is, like I said, they're very, very good. They're deep. So that should be a real good matchup tomorrow at Redberry Gym in Bangor. Lawrence from Class A in Bangor in Double A. And, of course, Lawrence beat them last year down there.
Yeah. Awesome. And then one guy that I didn't mention, Jason Reynolds for not Winslow. Trying to think of the W name for Winslow. He got to 1,000 points. I think he started at 36 and 34 points in his first 2 games. He's started out really well, so I wanted to mention him as well. You have St. Tom's Bangor Hockey.
Yeah, St. Tom's. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. St. Tom's was very young last year, but I've heard they're good this year. They're always a factor. St. Tom's and Lewiston. When you think of high school hockey in the state of Maine, you think of those 2 schools. But of course, last year at Scarborough win the state, coming out of the 7th spot, I believe. So, Bangor's very young this year. Very good defenseman, Mike McLean. But again, they're going to be playing a lot of younger players. Again, they're in that cycle at Bangor with a lot of inexperienced players. They lost Jay Kirsch, their goalie. He graduated, the senior. So it'll be interesting. They. Aaron Donovan from Hamden made 50 saves against him in the 2-2 tie a week ago, and again, St. Tom's and Bangor. Bangor really is they're 0-1-1. I believe St. Tom's is 2-0, but should be a good game. Should be at Story Arena tonight. It's always good. And the nice thing about Story Arena is you feel like you played in the game when you cover a game in there because you're freezing. So you just feel like you accomplished something by covering a game, in the freezing rink. You feel like you're part of the game in there.
Right. Good. That's what you want at a hockey game, to feel like
you do. You want to feel like you're part of it. And the good thing is, if you're cold enough, if you get hit by the puck, you won't feel it.
Yeah, just bounce off you.
Yeah, just bounce off. Yeah, it's just
right. I'm gonna have a story tomorrow about a Brewer swimmer, Bryn Lavinger. I'm still scared of her last name, but the point is, freshman swimmer at Brewer already has 3 school records. I talked to her today for the story, and one thing that stuck out to me when I asked her, what was going through your head before your first swim meet. She's only had 2, and she said, obviously I wanted to get some school records. And Larry, I've never heard a freshman say that, but she was right. She got a couple school records. So, she's.
I remember too. Her mom is Crystal Fogler, and her mom was one of the greatest swimmers of all time at the University of Maine. And I swim over at the Y, and her mom would bring her and her younger sister during the summer, all hours just to get in their time. So 2 very dedicated young swimmers. I believe that the younger sister is in middle school, and she's going to be outstanding also. But no, that's a great story. And of course, they have the Price girls at Brewer too. Brewer's got a very, very good girls swim team. They're going to be in the mix, I think. And again, I know how hard this girl has worked, and I know the pedigree because her mom was a terrific swimmer at Maine. So. It'll be interesting to watch her progress throughout her career.
Yeah,
and read your story.
Right. Yeah, get some details on her. But I asked the coach if there's anything that separates Bryn from everyone else, and she basically said that she just gets it. And it probably goes back to what you were saying, just the hours and hours and during the summer of and different swim club meets and whatnot. So. So I'm excited to watch her the rest of the winter, and I'll have a story on her later today. So,
well, Letty, hey, listen, we want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, a safe, happy holidays. Be careful on Friday. They're saying 2 to 3 inches of rain, up to 60, 70 mile an hour winds. Stay in if you can. And again, and then it's going to cool off Saturday. So just be very careful, because if it ices over, it's going to be a mess. So, but again, wonderful holidays, and we look forward to seeing you guys. Next week, man? We'll be back at it.
Yeah, next week we'll be on here and we'll be talking Maine high school sports. So, Larry, thanks again for coming on. And
my pleasure, Adam. Thank you for having me. Well, hey, we're having fun with this, man.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. I'll see you around, and happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and we'll see you soon.